Want to introduce yourself?
I'm Alissa from the Agonist.
Okay, and you're from where?
Montreal, Quebec.
Okay. Now, how the Agonist isn't the first name you had for the band, is it?
No, we used to be called The Tempest, and then we changed the name to the Agonist before releasing our first album, but after recording our first album. And yeah, we just basically changed it because it was more original and meant something more. So.
Where did the Agonist come from, the band name?
Well, basically, I mean, we decided we were going to change the name, so we all kind of did, brainstorming, kind of, made all sorts of sheets with different words on it and different things. And, I looked into different poems and things that I like, different authors that I like, sort of just throwing words together. And, we narrowed it down to maybe like 5 different names. And then one of the words that I had was the Agonist, and it kind of stuck in my head. And then when I found out the meaning for it, I was like, oh yeah, that's the one.
What does it mean?
Well, there's like a couple different meanings for it. Like, one is in the literary sense, which I'm a big fan of, I study English a lot, and like I'm a big fan of a lot of different literature and stuff. But basically you have, in any story, you have a protagonist and an antagonist, protagonist being the good side, antagonist being the bad side. And there's also occasionally an agonist, which is sort of the person caught in between good and bad. And our music has the melodic and the heavy, so it's kind of like representing that. And then in pharmaceutical use, an agonist is also a drug that's administered to induce feeling rather than an anesthetic type thing. And we'd like to think that our music and lyrics makes people feel and think. So,
nice.
So yeah.
And how long has the band been together?
2004, so I guess 5 years about.
Okay, you got picked up by Century Media last year, 2 years ago.
No, we got picked up by them actually in 2006. So
okay.
yeah,
First album was 2007.
Yeah, we had already recorded it. Basically, they picked us up on that album. So.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And they don't have anything before that.
No, that was actually just a demo that we were recording, and then we were like, well, we might as well just record everything we have. And then it was like, okay, well, this is kind of a full length now. And then Century Media heard it, and they were like, hey, let's release this. And we were like, I'm not going to argue that. So.
How have you been touring? You've been touring a lot for this record, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been touring pretty much consistently since March when the album came out. So, and we still have more plans to be touring after this, so we're going to be on the road for a while.
And how have your experience with that been? Is this the first national tour you've done like that?
No, we toured on Once Only Imagined also. We toured for like about 3 months straight, alongside Sonata Arctica, Overkill, Enslaved, Arsis, Epica,
Nice.
And so we did quite a bit of touring for that one too, but then, it definitely wasn't as long. I mean, we ended in the winter because touring in the winter is really dangerous. But
do you have any personal experiences to back that up?
Yeah, that's kind of how our tour ended. In Montana on the side of the mountain. So.
What happened?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was driving, and basically, because you're in the mountains there, and it was November or maybe even December at that point. Yeah, so that was on our Enslaved tour, and we were all trying to make our way to Seattle. And it was in the middle of winter, and all the bands were having trouble getting. A lot of them stopped, and they were like, okay, we're gonna miss our Seattle show, but it's better to miss the show and stop, because it was a huge drive. It was like a full 2-day drive, I think. So we had 2 days off. And blizzard hit. It was complete whiteout, like we couldn't see. I was like, I gotta get off the highway, My band was like sleeping in the back, it was just me and my drummer. And I was like, okay, like if you see an exit, tell me, because we couldn't see even like 2 feet in front of the van. So everybody at this point, even though it was the highway, was driving about like, 30 miles an hour with the 4-way flashers on. And we couldn't see the exits until we were passing them. So we typed an exit into the GPS, which is like, whatever, next exit. But then the GPS was shutting out because the storm was putting out the reception, so we couldn't find the exits to get off the highway. And then all of a sudden the highway went from being flat to being downhill. Oh. And so we're in a van and trailer, right, which is basically a death trap. Our trailer didn't have brakes at that point. We started going down the hill, and I was like, okay, if I allow us to coast down this hill, like I was looking at my drummer, like, I don't know where we're going at the bottom. So I was like, I can't even touch the brakes, because when I do that, the trailer doesn't brake, right? And so I basically I just tried to tap the brakes to get us to slow down. And then the trailer started going sideways, and it pulled the van off the highway and then flipped over on top of the van.
So it flipped over on top of it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, in one of our webisodes on our MySpace, we have footage of it, and yeah. I mean, we were fine. Like, everyone was still asleep in the back, and they just woke up and they were like, oh.
Well, you didn't have to worry about it sliding anymore, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that was basically, we had to go home after that because all of our gear was screwed up, so.
Wow.
Yeah, so that sucked.
And where was that?
That was in December of 2007.
Where?
In Montana.
Montana.
Yeah.
Of course it's Montana. Okay, so who writes the lyrics in the band? You?
I write the lyrics, yeah.
Does the band do the music? And you just...
Well, yeah, I mean, basically what happens is Danny, the guitarist, he will write a series of riffs and, sort of write a song. He'll bring it to the band and, Chris Kells, the bass player, he'll put his bass lines on it. Simon will put the drums to the song. They'll sometimes restructure it a little bit. We haven't actually written with our new guitarist yet because he just joined right before he started touring, so we'll see how that goes. And then once they sort of have a song all put together, they, do like a quick recording of it in our jam space. They pass that to me, I take it, I write lyrics, I write the vocal patterns, the rhythms, the melodies, the harmonies. Sometimes I restructure it a bit too just to fit with, my idea, and then basically I present that to them, and I mean, it works pretty well for us. Like, we've never really had any problems with it. It's like they give me a song, I give them back a complete song, and so yeah, that's been pretty much how it works.
Okay, where do you get your lyrical inspiration from?
A lot of different things. I mean, I always write lyrics based on, personal experience, but I always try to bring it to a more general level that other people can relate to it too. I don't write about, I don't write about just anything. It has to really affect me for me to write about it, but something that I really strongly believe in is veganism, and so that influences a lot of my lyrics. And on this new album, I sort of wanted to keep a concept going throughout the entire thing and have a mood set, and I explored a few different kinds of, a few different sort of structures of poetry that I could use. So there's some that are just more descriptive imagery type songs, and then there's some that are sort of stream of consciousness, and then there's other things that are, typically how I would write lyrics. And so yeah, I mean, I pretty much just don't close myself in, I just write.
So the new album's heavier than the first one.
I guess so. I mean, it's funny because there's some people that are like, oh, it's so much more melodic, and then other people are like, oh, it's so much heavier, and I'm just like,
I think it's both.
Both, yeah. Yep.
How did that occur? Does just normal progression, or was it intentional?
It was just pretty much how we all sort of progressed. Like, I've always been wanting to push it heavier, and Danny, he excels at writing really melodic stuff, and so we sort of butt heads with that kind of, sometimes, but. Basically it was just, the addition of Simon to the band, because Simon did not play on the first album and he wasn't there for the writing of that. So Simon joining actually helped a lot because he's also a songwriter and a guitarist, and track 5, Waiting Up the Winter, was actually written and performed completely by him, with the exception of the vocals, which were written and performed by me. And other than that, we just, pretty much we all evolved because of touring and because of just, growing up, and we didn't really focus on trying to accomplish any one specific thing with this album. And even until the last day of studio, I wasn't sure how the album was going to come out. I was really up and down with this. Some days I'd be like, yes, it's amazing, and other days I'd be like, oh man, I don't know. And then finally we finished down to, I think our last day in studio was 47 hours,
Wow.
And so, straight, no break, no sleep, nothing. And so we had the album and we sent it off to be mastered, and I was like, I love this.
Who does the artwork on your albums?
It's an artist named Natalie Shao, and she did the artwork for both albums. In the second album, I actually designed the cover, but I had her actually illustrate it because I just did not have time. Mm-hmm. And she's an amazing artist. I love her style of artwork, and so she did the cover, the back cover, and the layout, and the photography in there is by a local photographer from Montreal named Giorgio Stusa. And
Have you played anywhere other than Canada and the U.S.?
Not yet, but we will be within the next couple months.
Really? Where are you going?
We have a couple shows in Mexico City, and then we have a full South American tour.
Nice.
And then we should be hitting Europe. Come on, Europe already, We should be hitting it pretty soon, hopefully beginning 2010.
What's the difference, would you say, between Canada and the U.S. as far as playing shows?
I would say that Canada, because the cities are, not as, they're more few and far between in Canada, but like the big metropolis centers. I would say that the shows usually have a better turnout and a more supportive crowd in Canada. I mean, it also depends. Like Quebec has its own metal scene. Like there's a strong French metal scene in Quebec, and yeah, I mean, I would have to say that the shows in Canada, there's fewer of them that you can play because there's only maybe like 10 major cities that you can play,
right.
But they're really quality shows. So it really depends if you want like quality or quantity, you know.
And you filmed the DVD recently, or is that coming out?
No, that's going to be on Wednesday. We're going to be shooting, well, basically, I mean, it's not really a DVD, it's just we're filming one of our shows, and that'll be added to footage that we've picked up along the years.
Oh, okay. I thought you were putting out an actual DVD.
We will be putting one out, but not anytime soon. We have to make it
okay.
still, so, yeah.
Were you in any bands before this?
Yeah, well, I was in like a couple local bands before this, and you know, they were just like little local bands that, you know, I was in a progressive metal band, like a Dream Theater type band, for like about 8 months before meeting up with Danny and Chris, which, you know, and we had another drummer at the time, and we formed the Tempest. And for the first year or 2 years that I was in the Tempest, I was also in another band with the guitarist that used to be in a band with all the members of Simple Plan, actually, because they're from right around Montreal also, and so. And they're also in the band Reset now. And I mean, the scene is just like that. And the drummer in that band was the guitarist in another Montreal local death metal band. And so, I mean, it's just, you know, that's the way it goes. So, but basically, this has been my, you know, my I wouldn't say first real band, but like it's been the one that's
taken off.
It's been the one that's taken off, and it's been the one that really had the best chemistry. Because I mean, even the first one only lasted about 8 months, and the other band, it was sort of always a side project to the Agonist.
And did you win an award for one of the videos, or get number?
Yeah, that was surprising actually. That was pretty cool. We won like in the top 10. I think it was the number 6 best video viewers' choice on Headbangers Ball, and that was pretty cool because that was a really awesome video for business suits and combat boots. And you know, that was by director David Brodsky. He's done all of our videos so far. He did And Their Eulogy Sang They Sleep, and we also have another video done by him, which is going to be released within weeks. And
what song?
For Thank You Pain. And yeah, so that video like really meant a lot to me because it really represented the lyrics really well, and so we were glad to see that the viewers' choice actually reacted to that. You know, we beat out bands like, you know, Arch Enemy and, you know, huge Bleeding Through and, you know, huge bands
that have been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah, so we were just like, wow, not gonna complain there.
Does it take a toll on your voice jumping from the growling to the clean vocals?
Not really. I mean, the only thing that takes a toll on my voice is if I don't sleep properly. That kills me. I have to sleep properly, or if I get sick, then
right.
it's gone. It's dead. Especially because I still have to exert it every single night, so it never has a chance to heal.
Well, is there anything else people should know about the Agonist?
Basically just, you know, the best thing you can do for the Agonist or any other band is just come to the shows and show your support at the shows. Buy our album. Please don't download it because that kills us. You know, that's a year's work, more than a year's work for us. You know, buy shirts. Just come rock out at the shows. You know, support us online, and that's basically the best thing you can do for any touring band, and that's the best way to support them. So,
now what merch do you have?
We're gonna have an online merch store up really soon. We had another one before, and we're just in the middle of transferring it over. We'll have T-shirts, posters that are autographed. Both albums, Once Only Imagine from 2007 and Lullabies for the Dormant Line from 2009. We have prints of a painting that I made, so you can buy those. They're also autographed. All sorts of different T-shirts, like 10, 15 different designs. Hoodies are going to be there soon, and they should be available in Hot Topics soon too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.